To New South Wales, which has recorded its lowest number of cases in almost 2 weeks. Danica DeGiorgio is live with us from Sydney. Danica, you can understand why authorities are a bit cautious in calling it a flattening of the curve, but it certainly looks that way.
Well, it does look that way. There's certainly signs of positivity, but at this stage, there's still too much data to collect and also fluctuations in the case numbers. So simply it is too early to say whether or not that curve has flattened. 1,127 new cases today and 2 deaths. If you do look at the curve, though, you can see that the rate of reproduction is sitting around 1 to 1.2. When this outbreak first began almost 3 months ago, the rate of reproduction was actually 1.3. So when it's under 1, that means that the curve is flattening. The Deputy Chief Health Officer, Dr Jeremy McAnulty, says that he needs a few more days to consider the graph.
It's too early to know if we're flattening the curve, but we're seeing pleasingly so far that cases haven't been increasing as fast as they have been, but there may be an effect of the weekend. We'll look to see what's happening throughout the rest of this week to know how we're going.
Kieran, also a few inner city suburbs on high alert. Glebe, Redfern and Waterloo. Case numbers in those 3 areas have risen, and the Deputy Chief Health Officer today not ruling out considering the City of Sydney a hotspot area.
And Danica, the Premier has met with mayors in some of those areas, local government areas of concern.
Yeah, in the 12 high-risk LGAs, Kieran, you might remember early on in the piece she was accused of snubbing these mayors. They'd been pleading with her to have a virtual meeting to discuss restrictions, the curfew, vaccine supply, as well as ongoing support. And today they finally had that meeting. This was the response from the Mayor of Canterbury Bankstown straight after.
We want to convey the thoughts and the emails and the constituents, I guess, frustration that they've been feeling over the past 10 weeks. We want to see an end to this curfew. That's one of the main things I'll be discussing, along with making sure that when we do come out of lockdown, that we're treated the same as everyone else and that we're given the same freedoms at the same time.
The Premier is also under pressure from within her own government not to declare LGAs as a whole as a hotspot, but rather suburb by suburb. If you look at, say, Seven Hills, for instance, that suburb is actually split up by 3 LGAs. Kieran, tomorrow we could potentially see 80% first vaccine dose in New South Wales. In the last hour or so, we've got confirmation that the current first dose rate is sitting at just over 79%. So potentially some positive news to come this week.
Danica, more progress, thanks. Now, Canberra's lockdown has been extended for another 4 weeks as the Territory records 22 new cases.